Wolf in a watchdog's clothing. Instead of the soft touch monitoring, the government has opted for predatory new rules. The new rules introduced by the center last week to regulate all types of digital platforms with the idea of reducing user grievances and ensuring compliance with the law are deeply unsettling, as they will end up giving government a good deal for leverage over online new publishers and intermediaries. Recently in the last week, the central government of India, it has introduced some new rules, and these new rules are to correct some problems with the are to collect some problems with are to collect some problems in the digital platforms with some users, and they are also and they are also and they are also and they are also for bringing those digital platforms with compliance to the law. Uh, these rules are only for two reasons. Um, they are for bringing some of the digital platforms into the compliance to the law, or according to the law, and the second one is to correct some problems which were addressed by some people. And these laws are deeply unsettling. Means these laws, they could not be stable for more time, because as they will end up giving the government a good deal of leverages over the online news publishers and intermediaries. This holds troubling implications for freedom of expression and right to information. So as I said, these new laws are very beneficiary for the users, but actually from another perspective, these are very troubling. For example, they make the rights such as right to information and right to education very hard. Electronics and IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, by launching the Information Technology Guidelines for Intermediaries and Digital Media Ethics Code, Rules 2021, presented in a presented it as a soft touch oversight mechanism. So, Electronics and the IT Minister of India, Ravi Shankar Prasad. So, when he launched the Information Technology Rules 2001, a form of act, when he launched that, he presented it. He told that it is a soft touch monitoring. It is a soft touch oversight mechanism. So he described the law as a soft touch oversight mechanism. So, and what he basically means by that is that this law, it kind of forecasts the future, and it kind of predicts the future, and takes the required action for that. A government press note termed it progressive and liberal. So a government press note. Some of the people of media have described it as um, progressive and liberal. It also claimed the rules seek to address it also claimed the rules seek to address people's varied concerns while removing any misapprehension about curbing creativity and freedom of speech and expression. It also claimed that it also claimed the rules term it also claimed that the rules seek to address people's varied concerns. So um, when the minister of IT and technology launched that, he also said that this the main aim of this law is to clear the problems of the people with some of the digital platforms. And while saying so, he removed all sorts of misapprehensions, or basically he cleared all sorts of misunderstandings. The soft tone notwithstanding, these rules forced digital news publishers and video streaming services to adhere to a cumbersome three-tier structure of regulation with a government committee as its apex. This soft tone notwithstanding, even though it has a soft tone, even though it has a good approach, it has a good approach to the problems. These rules force digital news publishers and video streaming services to come. So, while saying about the new rules, I said that the main aim is to make some specific digital platforms either to the rules or make them to follow the rules. And most of the digital services and most of the digital platforms and services, it's very difficult and troublesome for them to do so, to follow the rules of or the laws of the government. This in itself is an unprecedented in a country where the news media have been given the space all along to self-regulate based on the mature understanding that any government presence would have a chilling effect on a free speech and on free speech and conversations. Um, so a thing like this, it has never happened in a country like India, in which medias are self-regulatory bodies. Means no one is going to say them what they can do or what they should do. They need to be aware of the situations, and they need to take the required actions. So in a country in which medias are self-regulatory bodies, especially in a country like India, this law could create a lot of problems. That the news rules pertain only to digital news media and not to the whole of the news media hardly provides comfort, as the former is increasingly becoming a prime source of news and views. So um, these new rules, they're only applicable for the digital news platforms, only for TV channels, only for radios, for and etc. Only digital, whatever it is. And these are not applicable for physical types of news such as newspapers, articles, magazines. So it only even for so even though the aim of these laws are to provide comfort and to address the problems which are mentioned by some of the users, these still create a these rules still create a new problem for the users. Further, it is of significant concern that purview of the IT Act 2000 has been expanded to bring digital news media under its regulatory ambit without legislative action, which digital liberties organizations such as the Internet Freedom Foundation have flagged. Further, it is further these new rules um, um, the law of the IT Act law, which was launched in 2000, if we give some importance to it, we'll understand that these new rules has been extended to bring digital engagement. So the main function of this IT Act, which was launched in 2000, uh, was to control digital news media platforms, without forcing or punishing them according to the law, which digital liberties organizations such as the Internet Freedom Foundation have flagged. And the digital news and the digital news media platforms, they clearly they evidently didn't follow it. So they become fragments. They kind of become very weak on that subject, very weak on following the laws of the government, and they didn't even follow the IT Act, which was launched in 2000, which is actually favorable to them because it doesn't offer any punishment from the law. The three-tier regulatory mechanism will seek to redress complaints with respect to digital platforms' adherence to a code of ethics, which, among other things, include the norms of journalistic conduct complied by the Press Council of India. The Program Code for the Cable Television Networks Regulation Act has also a negative list of content that shall not be published, essentially what one would encounter under law as reasonable restrictions to free speech. Um, so, in this new rule or law, the media must be following a three-tier mechanism. Um, even though the aim of the new rule is to make most of the digital news media platforms to follow the rules, and to address some of the problems of the users. And one more piece of information is that, um, when the author said that, this new rule is to make the digital platforms follow the rules or laws of governments. He particularly mentioned that they need to follow the code of ethics, which among other things include the norms of journalistic conduct. So they should follow all the norms of the journalistic conduct, um, and these were given by the Press Council of India. While there is not much that is wrong with the code of ethics per se, what is problematic is that it will take little to bring this regulatory mechanism to vicious life. So there is not much of a problem with the aims. There is not a problem with the in following the norms of journalistic conduct, but there is some problem, um, but there is one problem, and the problem is that to get habituated to this new style or a new trend of the media regulation, it's very hard. According to the new rules, any person having a grievance regarding content published by a publisher in relation to the code of ethics may furnish his grievance on grievance mechanism established by the publisher. So suppose that I'm a consumer, and someone else is a publisher. So if he publishes something that I don't like, or that is completely against me, or insults me, um, I can send my grievances to him, and he will hopefully clear it. So literally anyone could force a digital platform to take up an issue. So you see how this is, right. For example, if someone gets something against themselves, even though if what they see is true or right, if it's still against them, or if they are still insulted by the truth, then obviously they'll be offended, and they can find a complaint on the grievances. So if everyone does this, as because everyone, literally everyone can do it. So this poses great difficulties. If there is no resolution, or if the complainant is dissatisfied, this can be escalated to a self-regulating body or publishers. This can then be escalated to the highest level, the government's oversight mechanism. If the publisher, if he doesn't satisfy if he doesn't satisfy the needs of the users or consumers, this complaint could be taken into next level, near the self-regulating body members. Then if even they don't clear it, this can even be taken in near the central government, which is known as the government's oversight mechanism. Apart from imposing a compliance burden on digital publishers, many small entries, this also opens the floodgates for all kinds of interventions. The potential for misuse is enormous. Um, so this new rule, it not only poses problems for the digital platforms, and but also for the users, and also for the and most importantly, the loop of the users and the publishers, um, because the opportunities or the chances of misusing this new rule is very high, because literally anyone could file a complaint against any piece of information that they hear or see. Thank you.